What are the societal impacts that create and influence sporting rivalries? Nearly every single code and league around the world can attest to possessing a sporting rivalry of some sort. Whilst most media commentators will pass off most sporting events as containing some sort of rivalry within the contest, it's because of the phenomenon that traditional and epic rivalries create. But what is it that makes societal environments and opportunities so integral to a sporting rivalry? Rivalry is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as competition for the same objective or for superiority in the same field. In sporting terms, this idea is the premise for all sporting clubs and institutions, as well as individuals. As renowned American footballer Vince Lombardi once said, "Winning isn't everything, winning is the only thing." Rivalries in sport have evolved through different ways and through different influences. As specified in the question, the major impact I will touch on through this presentation is the social influence on creating and intensifying sporting rivalries. Gray, Gould, Sharp and Schaeffer define rivalry as a fluctuating adversarial relationship existing between two teams, players or groups of fans gaining significance through on-field competition, on-field or off-field incidents, proximity, demographic makeup and or historical occurrences. This description implicates the understanding that rivalries are born through incidents that occur not only in the sporting arena, but also in the throe of everyday life. Rivalries provide an avenue for superiority over a bitter opposition. While some rivalries are born from success and competition, a vast amount of rivalries can also be born from external influences. It was found that rivalries in team sports are commonly conceptualized as a threat to the fan's identity, some of which are territorial conflict, racist and xenophobic undertones, or religious beliefs. In regards to territorial rivalries, amongst the most famous sporting rivalries in the world is the fierceness between India and Pakistan, particularly in the cricket. Two countries that loathe each other's existence, purely based upon their rough past in relation to split territory, of which is still disputed and violent today. Territorial influences can also cause close-down rivalries, where two neighbouring cities or villages battle for who is better. A classic example is Manchester United versus Liverpool FC in the English Premier League. A religious example is the old rivalry between the old firm in the Scottish Premier League, Celtic and Glasgow Rangers. Celtic being traditionally the Irish Scots of the nation, and Rangers being the native Scots and Ulster Scots. This rivalry is one with religious undertones and pits Protestant and Catholicism against one another. Violence frequently reigns supreme, especially during derby matches. An example of national pride and xenophobic hatred is the Miracle on Ice, held at the 1980 Winter Olympics between the USA and Soviet Union in the ice hockey. It pitted two nations, still in the shadow of war, against one another, not only in the wrestle for an Olympic medal, but in a battle for supremacy, pride, and bragging rights. A bloody and intense affair, the underlying procession was two teams fighting for not only glory, but for their beloved country. It will always be remembered as one of the most outstanding spectacles of any era. The result, a win to the amateurs from the US, was more than just one hockey team beating another. It was a victory in an ideological struggle. But even rivalries are not necessarily based around a particular conflict. Some developed to contain epics where nothing but pride is at stake, where two opposing forces want to be considered the best. An example for this is the golf tournament, the Ryder Cup, where Europe and the USA battle over 3 days to claim the ultimate bragging rights as to who possesses the best golfers. But through these rivalry events, a medium is supplied in order to fight against an opposition that it despises or disagrees with, to voice one's support in opposition. Having these sporting rivalries can commandeer mateship and togetherness for those with similar views against an abject enemy and or problem, and is often revered in creating an influence upon an issue, whether positive or not. All these rivalries are comparable in that they draw upon success of their sporting interest in order to act as a catalyst for dominance and pride in terms of being better than those on the other side of a dispute. Having a successful rivalry can always benefit in economical ways as well, through ticket sales, merchandise sales, and television rights. Rivalries adds extra exposure and influence in the marketing aspect of sport. In return, these are utilised in the local economy to fund growth, jobs, and opportunity. So the adoption of large rivalries can assist in the well-being of society.